Well, what happened with us was we had an elder who went and visited a summit in another city, and he was on a business trip, and he had some time, and he went into a summit. He came back, and he was raving about it, and he was talking to the other elders, and he was going, "You guys, you got to go to this thing. We got to go. We got to go." Well, the next year I couldn't go. A couple of the other elders jumped in and went. Then about three of them came back and said, "You guys, we got to go to this thing." So that year I went, and a bunch of the elders went, and we came back, and it was an incredible experience. And so we started for several years doing that as elders, hopping on airplanes and traveling to go to this thing. Then I was looking at it as a senior pastor going, I've got to get my staff in this thing. So we started taking our elders, and we took our staff, and we'd stay overnight, we'd make a big deal out of it. Then we're looking at this thing going, this is transforming our culture. And that's when we were approached by Willow and asked, would you host this? And to me, that was an absolute and total no-brainer. Of course we'll host this. So now we get our congregation going. We've been doing it for 3 years, and it is without a doubt a highlight, if not the highlight of our calendar year. I think what ends up happening is the impact of the teaching and the exposure to the class of leader that you get. We simply couldn't do this. We couldn't get that many people exposed at that level. What starts to happen is there becomes a common dialogue, there becomes a common language. Those who have been to the summit get it, and they start talking, and it raises the bar of leadership in our church. It creates a motivation that I think wouldn't be there. It has absolutely been catalytic to transforming our church. I just resonate with it. And it is just something that it's a language that's spoken that I get. It's very, very motivational to me. It's very inspiring. I learn things I've not heard before. I'm exposed to ideas. The resources that are made available are resources that I don't necessarily always have heard about or know about. And it is just, again, the word is catalytic. It's catalytic to my own personal growth. Well, what I've experienced, I've stood in front of our elders, I've stood in front of our staff, I've stood in front of our congregation and said, you know, this is the highlight for me, and I want you to experience this. And I believe with all my heart that every single person who is placed in a responsibility of leading somebody owes it to them to lead the very best they're capable of leading. And there's no excuse for being ill-prepared, especially when something like this is so readily available and so in touch.